Good evening and welcome to the Bedminster Township regularly scheduled Township Committee meeting for July 5th, 2022. Recognize that we have a quorum of Township Committee in attendance in person. Committeeman Stevenson, Committeeman Hickey, Committeewoman Reski, and Committeewoman Fernandez has an excused absence. Ms. Ray, may we please have the Open Public Meetings Act statement?
Yes, Mayor. Adequate notice of the city and township committee was sent to the Courier News in Somerville, the Burnsville News Liberty, and to all subscribers and posted at the township municipal building on January 6th, 2022.
Great, thank you. Please join me standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so before we get to the essentially the mayor's comments, I'd like to call up Chief Dave Grundyke up to, you can actually come up here if you like, and be on camera.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I'll pause.
So as everyone up here knows, and hopefully some of the attendees know, that there was a fire on Cedar Ridge. It was a garage fire, and it was a tremendous example of responsiveness from Far Hills Bedminster Fire Department, as well as mutual aid. And here to just give a recap for the Township Committee is Chief David Grundyke.
Mayor, thank you, committee. Appreciate it. So we were dispatched to 315 Cedar Ridge Road, about 16:43 is our dispatch time. We were currently on a call prior to that. Came in as a reported structure fire, unsure at that point, right? Barn, house, what it was, but multiple calls. We then, arriving units for PD first. They were confirmed that that was the case. Our units then, were redispatched for the fire, confirmed that it was the barn that was on fire. Started on the right-hand side of the barn, traveled through, the contents of the, I would say it's a mixed use. It's a garage and a barn, an old horse barn that's being used for storage. Fire load kind of spread through that. PD was a great help blocking off on Lamington to let resources come in down Lamington on the Cedar Ridge. First initial teams was my assistant chief and our engine. We then also deployed our tanker task force for that section of Bedminster. And then our other mutual aid departments that we brought in were Green Knoll, Bernardsville, PPAC, Pottersville, Chester, Liberty Corner, Martinsville. We also had Somerset County MAC there, and they're a mutual aid coordinator just to help call in other resources and position. EMS, we did have two from Robert Wood Johnson that came. One was ended up transporting. 29 EMS, our first aid squad was there, and 22 EMS. Our squad then helped set up fire rehab and drinks and to make sure there was an area set up for that. And then we also had a water shuttle going from the fire scene all the way, making the loop down to River Road, up 202, 206, filling at the library, and then coming back down. So that's usually 6 tankers that's in the task force. Our tanker, Bernardsville's, was into the scene, and we have hose coming down all the way down the driveway. Again, there's some loss of property. All in all, there's still the building is still standing. Contents can still be cleaned and managed. So it's not, to me, there was a very good stop, not a complete loss of property. So any questions from you guys that you have, or?
Chief, I mean, it's just amazing that the mutual aid that responded. How and just so that for us, how do those calls go out?
So we have box alarms for certain portions of the town. We also have box alarms that are, right, there's very difference of what resources we're going to call to this fire, very different resources that we would call someplace in the hills. So they're all depending on geographic, also depends on, I'll call people load, right? It also depends on AM or PM, right? AM, things have changed because of COVID, but AM, 10 years ago, there was not many people at home. So, right, there might only be 2 or 3 people occupying a building. Where now, or at night, there's 10 or 12 that are in that building. So a lot of it is, right, it's a progression as to changing things and reevaluating, our mutual aids. But to me, mutual aid is key, right? Mutual aid helped set up our fill site, helped set up our dump site. So, right, those things, we don't have enough resources to set up everything. We don't have enough manpower to set everything up. So that's where the other mutual aids is key.
So does that mean that one of those responding mutual aid companies went to Lucas Brook
Yes.
and managed, they were there and their
Correct.
job was to
Right, they were
fill the
there and
tankers?
their chief or their officer then managed that section of the incident. So, right, the incident is at the fire or at the location, but really the incident then becomes bigger because the incident is really that loop from Cedar Ridge to River Road to 206 back to Lamington. And that whole section is then in a sense, command's responsibility to oversee and make sure each position is being filled out.
And I guess because of how narrow Cedar Ridge is, you can only do one vehicle,
Correct.
one fire vehicle at one time going in one
Correct.
direction.
And right, the nice part is we didn't completely shut Cedar Ridge down. The homeowners on Cedar Ridge know because they bump into, that mail truck or that truck delivering something or the horse trailer. So, right, the carload is also not there. So we didn't have to really shut that down, but right, portions of Lamington, we had to stop traffic to bring in other resources. So.
And there was an incident, someone did get injured, a firefighter from one of the mutual aid companies.
Yep, we did have an injury and those things are going to happen. He was transported to a local hospital, doing well.
Good.
So, but those things happen. Again, that goes back to, right, we just keep training with others and everything and to make ourselves better, learn from, no mistakes, but right, there's always little things that we could say what ifs, but overall, everything was done correctly and I'd say unfortunately an injury, but we get past that.
So dispatch at 16:43, so 4:43, and then within hours out.
Yeah,
So-
we were not there. The sun did not set before we had left. So, which was a good thing.
Yeah, great,
So-
great. So well done. And once again, it's just the value of mutual aid and training with others is just, just a job well done. And
As always,
Yes, thank you, Jim. And by the way, living off Lucas Brook, you had a very well-oiled machine running those tankers in and out. It was amazing to watch.
Yep, that is one thing that, right, we rely on that, everything west of 206.
Yep.
We rely on that to Burnsville and the P-PAC, most of Far Hills. So that's something that, right, we do work on. And thankfully, right, we do drill on it multiple times. We've actually drilled on it within the past 2 months. So the nice part is, right, we had drilled on it and then we had to use it. So it was
It showed you.
everybody knew positions.
Yeah.
And we go for it.
It really showed. Thanks.
So,
No, it's try some point why you practice, why you do, right? See practice. So it's,
thank you.
And if nothing else, the chief has a meeting
Yes, sir.
right down memory lane. So the meeting starts in 10 minutes and he's going to preside over that meeting. So
Yep.
Chief, thank you for coming out here tonight.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to share what we do. And we also appreciate your support.
Great job and be safe. Be safe.
Well done.
Thank you.
Right. So just from my comments, we really didn't get into this at the last meeting, but back in May, we got a request from Somerset County LGBTQ asking if Bedminster would be willing to participate and also volunteering their assistance in Pride Month. We did reach out to them and said, if you can get us a flyer or a banner or something, we'll display it in Town Hall. And they did, and it was up. I'm not sure if it's still up, right? Oh, it's still up right in the center, right in the hallway. So Robin, thanks for putting it together, and thank you to the Somerset County LGBTQ for what they are, association, committee, whatever are they are through Somerset County. So thank you for their assistance. I have other comments, but because I was running late, my papers are a little disjointed, so I may come back to this during subcommittee comments. And let's go to public comments. We have no one in attendance other than our local newspaper, Jake Perry. But if anyone is participating, and we've got one participant who may be going to, I know it's Kevin, so he might be down the lane also meeting the chief. If anyone participating by Zoom wants to make a public comment, take cursor, scroll down to the bottom of the screen, click on participants, and then click on raise hand.
No raised hands.
Seeing none, let's proceed with the rest of the meeting. We have 2 meeting minutes to approve: the June 20 regular Township Committee meeting and the June 20 closed session meeting. Any comments or revisions to those meeting minutes? If none, we have motion to approve.
I was not there, so I need to.
You cannot make that motion.
So moved.
All in favor?
Ah,
Okay.
there you go. Permits and raffles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Special use permit for the Center for Contemporary Art for the installation display of the felt banners from September 1, 2022 to December 10. She's not logged in and she was supposed to get us some additional information. We don't have that in. Okay, so let's table that special use permit. Moving on, social fair permit to benefit Mainstream LLC on October 1, 2022 from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. at United States Equestrian Team, USET 1040 Pottersville Road, Bedminster. Next is an on-premise merchandise raffle to benefit Ryan's Buddies Foundation on August 2, 2022 at Fiddler's Elbow Country Club, 811 Rattlesnake Bridge Road, Bedminster. Next, an on-premise 50/50 raffle to benefit Children's Specialized Hospital Foundation on August 8, 2022 at Fiddler's Elbow Country Club, 811 Rattlesnake Bridge Road. And the last is an amending social fair permit 2022-009 ABC file 507849 for Mansion Caterers trading as Frangillo Caterers on July 29 through July 31, 2022 for the Live Golf Inc. Professional Golf Tournament at Trump National Golf Club, 900 Lambton Road, Bedminster. And the request is to extend the previously issued social affair permit from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Sunday, July 31st, 2022. So let's cover, we're going to table the first one, 1, 2, 3, the next 3. So any comments or questions regarding the permit for Mainstream, the raffle for Ryan's Buddies, the 50/50 raffle for Children's Specialized Hospital? No comments? I'm going to take a motion to approve those.
I move to approve items B, C, and D.
Great.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
So the social fair permit to extend the social fair permit from 9 p.m. on July 31st to 10 p.m. So Robin, if you can just give us an explanation.
Sure, we organized with a caterer, they're having a concert on Sunday evening, July 31st, that goes until 10 o'clock, and they want their guests to be able to, have the bars open until 10 p.m., and this is strictly for ticketed, pass holders.
So is the concert going to 10 or is the concert ending earlier, but they're just keeping the bar open?
Concert is till 10 p.m.,
The concert is till 10 p.m.
everything ends.
Okay. Do we know, has that element been reviewed by the police or anyone from zoning about noise issues?
Correct. So that's taking place this Thursday in detail with the organizers of the Live Golf Tournament. Head to toe.
So I'm not sure that I'm ready to approve this until we hear more details. So my plan is to attend that meeting.
Sure.
And that's this, I'm sorry, I don't
It's
know.
okay, this Thursday.
It's Thursday, it's this Thursday, okay.
It's 11 a.m.
So I would recommend tabling this until we hear some more details about what's involved. What kind of concert, which way the noise is going to be projected. So if no one minds, I would not, in addition to tabling item A, I would also table E for the next meeting, which still is
The 18th, so we're
the
still.
18th, is still in time. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Moving on, monthly report discussions by subcommittee chair. We'll start with Committeeman Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to report that we have received some comments from the public about some areas that could use a little bit of TLC by DPW, and we're going to get that done.
Committeeman Hickey.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, all. Apologies for my raspy voice. Just as a follow-up to last month's report, the library had requested some feedback on accepting Narcan kits from the State Department of Health, of Human Services. The board was supportive of this action, but also asked that Dr. Agathis be consulted as she was not present at the meeting. She did subsequently voice her support for the initiative and also volunteered to actually train the library staff on the proper administration of Narcan. I also attended last Monday the Hills Village North Master Association meeting. No surprise, the topic of cable service came up, which we will be discussing later in the meeting. I also received and followed up on a request they had for possible spectator seating next to the tennis courts, as there was some confusion as to who owns the adjacent property. And spoiler alert, and no surprise, it's not us, even though they're under the impression it was. So it's a Hills internal matter that will not involve us. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Committeewoman Mareski.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a meeting tomorrow with Environmental Commission, so I will report back next time. And real quick on Jacobus Vanderveer House, they are going into hiatus for the summer, but they are still going to be working on some plans for this fall, for things like the Colonial Christmas Party, the Osborne Gallery event. They also have some plans tentatively looking around October 12th for using two educational grants that they have, the CLAP grant and the Americana Corner. So we'll keep you apprised as to what we're doing with that, and that should be exciting for the kids in the neighborhood.
Great.
That's all I've got.
Great, thank you. So I do have a couple items to cover. Let's start with farmland preservation. Colin and I both attended a meeting last week with our new representative from NJCF, Richard Dodds, who actually was the former mayor, is the former mayor of Kingwood Township. And he's been very active in farmland preservation. He's a farmer himself, and also has been very active in a lot of local nonprofits. And so he's well versed in the process of pursuing and obtaining grants, and is also very familiar with the SADC process and the county process here in Bedminster. And so this was a good meeting sort of to revisit where we left off on some of our farmland preservation projects. And there are a couple that are kicking around, and see what we can do to jumpstart those. And so John Bellardo, you may be hearing from either me or from Taylor James or from Richard Dodds to revisit perhaps some of those that we'd started with Beth and now may just, we're really not quite sure where they are, but we'll follow up with you to see if there's anything that we need to do to move these elements along, as well as we do have a meeting, not this week, but next week with the entire farmland. I guess our agricultural advisory committee, that's our formal name, with the AAC to once again, there's money out there that's available and accessible to Bedminster to continue our preservation efforts. With Beth Davison from NJCF going on sabbatical, we sort of fell into a lull. And once again, we need to, just as we need to kickstart some of the projects, we also may need to do the same with notification to the Bedminster residents and the property owners out, particularly in Western Bedminster, to let them know the projects and the opportunities and the benefits, both in land preservation, financial, and estate planning tools that can be utilized through the SADC and the county programs. So we'll be trying to move that forward at our next meeting.
Mayor, if I may, in that regard, I have been working with another representative from NJCF in other towns and on other projects in Ms. Davison's absence. So perhaps we could talk offline and I could get that representative either involved or find out who could step in and fill Ms. Davison's shoes during her sabbatical.
Okay, great. We'll get that information over to you, John.
Thank you, Mayor.
On land use board, we do have a meeting this week and we're going to continue discussions on two elements. One is proceeding with the application for master plan endorsement with the state planning commission. That's moving in a good direction. Once again, I reported that we had a robust conversation with the last land use board meeting, and we're going to kick that off right where we left to pursue that. And also on the rezoning opportunities for the AT&T campus. Once again, we've taken or given direction to our planning consultants to take the recommendations from the AT&T study and now move forward to putting together a zoning ordinance to rezone that campus to make it more useful if AT&T were to leave and or AT&T were to reduce their presence at the property. So in either situation, we need to have a rezoning in place, or frankly, as I think Colin and I have been saying for years, and before that, Mayor Parker and I were saying, is our preference is that AT&T stays and grows, but we need to have a plan in place to make sure that property is well situated. There's just an article I saw today. I think it was in the New York Times. Did I send that to you?
I don't think so.
Okay. About these, what the suburban office market is, what the suburban campus properties are, what the opportunities are. We may be seeing a bit of a change in this part of the county, in this part of the state. It's probably endemic of real estate market forces really across the entire country. What's the future of these single user corporate campuses? And if they're going to be put to new uses or expanded uses, let's do so in a smart manner. So we had the planning study prepared, and now let's take those recommendations and advance them further. So those are the only two items up for this week's land use board. I'm not sure if we'll have further applications in July, but if we do, we'll report back at the next meeting. Farmers market, we had a record attendance at Saturday's market. So here I was looking at the weather forecast. It's 4th of July, everyone's going away. we're putting all this effort into the market. Are we going to get enough people? The weather's a little iffy. They're calling for thunderstorms at some point, maybe, sort of. But even the maybe sort of thunderstorms can be enough to quash folks coming out.
Not our folks.
Absolutely not the case. Colin, the number was
1,047.
1,047.
Do you guys break the record each week? It sounds like it's getting it to be a bigger number every Saturday. Oh my God. What are you
I don't know.
doing? Give me
Well,
a
this
step of what?
week, we had music provided by Neil Mastro Buono, Senior. It was fantastic.
Yeah, awesome.
Fantastic. And Neil Jr., who's our rec director and former market manager, was, he's a professional. Yeah, but it was just a great event. Back was out in the field parking cars and looked over at one point, and all the picnic tables were full. People were picking up their pizzas from Testo and sitting down on the ground, and it was just a really just nice vision. Also, with 4th of July, we were handing out flags, and 99.9% of the people had no problems taking American flags. Once in a while, there might be a little issue there, but all in all, good. And library, I guess we didn't have a meeting. Did we have a meeting?
Not since our last meeting.
So library, just as we have the TV here, right? And we use for our meetings, and it's also available for other internal staff meetings. I think we've convinced that the library should look into getting a similar setup in the all-purpose room downstairs. So, which is used not just for library board meetings, but it's also rented out for other events, and they do a lot of programming there. And having something like this TV with cameras gives them much more flexibility in staging programming. So they're pursuing that. As Colin did a quick back of the envelope budgeting for them, it's probably going to be the right square on, because we ran it here and we know what those costs are, and it's completely within reach. And the library hopefully is moving closer and closer to having the updated website. So we've been seeing sort of the preliminary versions and light years ahead of what's currently in use. So hopefully we can roll that out very soon. And that's what I have from subcommittee reports. Ms. Ray, maybe please have the administrator's report.
Lots going on. I like the majors. Generally speaking, we had representatives from Congressman Malinowski's office open information booth last Thursday outside the township offices to answer residents' questions about what your congressman can do for you. Coming up in December, we have both our sewer transmission advisory board, STAG as we affectionately call it, and our shared municipal court agreements. They both expire December of 2022. So I'm working with a couple of the key folks on both committees right now to get a jump on the renewal process so we can hash out everything we need to before the budget season is upon us. The mayor talked about Richard Dodds. We're working with him, who's our new representative from the New Jersey Conservation Foundation on the 2023 Plan Incentive Grant, which is with the State Agricultural Development Committee. We have finalized our 2020 liquor license renewal process this past week. We continue to work with Heather Mahaley and CGP&H on a number of affordable housing matters on a regular basis, consuming quite a bit of time. Working right now on the 2022 tax bill insert, which will contain important information from various departments for residents. With regard to personnel, we've had a couple changes here. As of June 30th, it marked the retirement of Deputy Court Administrator Sarah Henderson, also known as Sandy.
I had no idea her first name was Sarah.
Yeah, it's Sarah. She goes by Sandy. Yep.
Okay.
After a long career in the Morrison Somerset court system, and she was here with Bedminster for the past 4 years, so she retired June 30th. We did hire her replacement back in June, who's worked out tremendously. And we are now interviewing for a violations clerk so that we can be fully staffed with 5 staff members. We have never been fully staffed at 5 in the last year and a half, so.
Is it time, oh, I'm sorry, is it time to have another shared court or SIMSAC meeting?
Yes,
Now that
and
we're
I've
fully
already
staffed.
reached out to a couple of the different administrators in the towns to start that discussion that also has to do with the agreement process.
Right.
And how we decide we're going to divide the expenses. So I have, the court has prepared, finalized a report for me with updated numbers from all the different municipalities that participate in the shared court system. I think you'll find them.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah. Also, we have, as of June 30th, a vacancy in the construction code official position, along with several code official and inspector licenses held by the prior official. We are actively interviewing candidates at this time. We've had 2 interviews. We have 5 more that we are trying to schedule. It's been difficult with the holiday vacation, as you can imagine, last week leading up and this week. Just a quick note there that we need to, if we're gonna appoint anybody as an acting, we have to do it within 30 days, and also appointments cannot be made for more than 60. So the goal was to fill this position as soon as possible.
And what would be the timeline? So 30 days from, so that was Ken Rogers was our construction code official.
Right, so fortunately on staff, we currently have 2 backup code officials that could keep the process moving forward should we need that. Both have been reached out to, and both are on board to assist.
So if we need to name either or any of them as interim, we have the opportunity to do so at our next meeting, or is that something that would be carried over to August?
That's correct, we can. So we would need to, if we're going to appoint someone for more than 30 days, the Department of Community Affairs needs to be noticed. Right now, we're just using this as the time that, thinking it like our official is on vacation and we're using our backups right now.
Okay,
And one of the backups has every license that our previous official had then some. So we're very well covered right now.
okay, good.
Also to let you know, information technology. So as part of the Township's JIP cybersecurity tier 3 compliance, which we announced at our last meeting, our IT manager, Vishant Saran, did perform an IT security audit of our our emergency services partners. And that includes the Far Hills Bedminster Fire Department and the Pottersville Volunteer Fire Department. He did determine that the Far Hills Bedminster Fire Department did not meet the minimum requirements for a tier 1 rating with the JIP, but he did make several recommendations, and they've been great as far as going back and forth and follow up. Vishant did determine that the Pottersville Volunteer Fire Company has taken great strides in improving their cybersecurity posture and has used best practices approach to create a custom profile to meet their needs. And he said they not only need tier 1, but they need tier 2. And why this is important for us to identify is that in case there is an exposure at the emergency service level, we mitigate our risk, because we've identified what tiers they are, and we've expressed that and documented it to the insurance companies. So it's a good process. That's been real time consuming, but I'm sure in the long run it will really be to our advantage. Also, just follow up, Committeeman Hickey and I continue to meet with our IT manager to set priorities as it relates to strengthen our own cybersecurity, and using some of the American Rescue Plan funds that we have in place. We prioritize for the next two quarters what we're going to be purchasing, our expenditures. The backup servers have arrived, and Vishant's onboarding those right now in the police department, so that's great. We're on target, and we also met with representatives for CADA, which was quite a demonstration of their cloud-based security system. It's not only cameras for the campus, the municipal campus, but also internal control devices for some of our security locks, lights, maybe perhaps moving away from the obsolete Honeywell system that we have right now. Just think it all through. Next, IT touch bases planned for the week of July 11th. Just a couple reminders of DPW, the township engineer is conducting preliminary designs for the Lucasville neighborhood repaving project, so that's coming up. And last week we did submit another DOT local aid grant for the Liskill Daily Union Road, Longview Road improvement project. So that's about 2 to 3 years out, so we just submitted the grant report this week. And that.
All right.
We have a lot going on.
Okay. Busy June and starting off as a busy July. Introduction of ordinances. We have none. We have 2 public hearings for ordinances. And these are carryovers from our last meeting. The first is ordinance number 2022-009. This ordinance corrects and amends Chapter 2 entitled Administration, moving the position of purchasing agent within the duties of the administrator to the creation of a separate position within the finance department. May we have a motion to open the public hearing for ordinance number 2022-009.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay, so let's do a quick little recap. At our last meeting, we were proceeding with the retention and I guess naming Sarah Hausman as purchasing agent, and it required adjusting certain elements within, I'm not sure, it was already within the salary ordinance. We weren't changing the salary ordinance. But because of the way things are being moved around, I want to make sure that we had everything locked up for this. Robin, you just want to do a quick
Sure.
summary of this before we get to 010.
Correct. So, long ago, when Susan Simber was administrator, the power of purchasing agent vested with the administrator. When we did identify a quality purchasing agent about 7 or 8 years ago, with Sean McCarthy, who never changed this. When we were going through our ordinances, when we were going through functions of a position, it's not that we need to make this adjustment. Update on our records.
Any further questions or comments for Ms. Ray? If not, we'll open the discussion to the public. Once again, if there's any members of the public who have questions regarding this ordinance, or if Kevin Murray has any questions, he can take his cursor, scroll down to the bottom of the screen, click on participants, raise hand. Seeing none, we have a motion to close the public hearing for ordinance number 2022-009.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take a motion to approve ordinance number 2022-009.
So moved.
Good.
Second.
Well done.
The roll call vote, please. Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
Ms. Moreski?
Aye.
And Mayor Jacobs?
Aye.
Thank you.
So now we proceed to ordinance number 2022-010, or 10. This ordinance amends Chapter 2 entitled Administration and establishes the position of purchasing agent per NJSA 40A:11-9. Ms. Ray, what does all that mean?
So when we took the position away from the function away from the administrator, we needed to actually create the position that's identified by state statute. So that ordinance addresses and identifies the functions of the QPA and according to law. State statute.
Okay, any further questions or comments regarding 2022-010? Seeing none, we'll open discussion or comments to the public. Once again, Anyone from the public can come on up. If you're participating by Zoom, bring your cursor down to the bottom, click on participants, click on raise hand.
Need to make a motion.
We need to make it, we didn't introduce. But it's one thing when I've got 7 of them, but when there's only 2. May we have a motion to open the public hearing for ordinance number 2210?
So moved.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye. Any questions or comments? Okay, we'll open up to the public. Same directions as before. Seeing none, we'll take a motion to close the public hearing for ordinance number 2022-010.
So moved.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
And we'll take a motion to approve ordinance number 2022-010.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please. Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
Ms. Moreski?
Aye.
And Mayor Jacobs?
Aye.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Sarah. You now officially have the position because it now officially exists. Okay. Consent agenda. We have 2 items on the consent agenda. Does any member of the Township Committee want to pull either or both of them off for individual discussion? Seeing none, may we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So,
Second.
Roll call vote, please. Mr. Stevenson?
aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
Ms. Moreski?
Aye.
And Mayor Jacobs?
And other than those items on the consent agenda, we have no other resolutions for discussion.
You gotta
Oh, we
say-
didn't. Me?
Yea or nay?
You already got good. You had them moving too fast, right? Aye.
Aye, okay.
Thank you.
We're all
Trying to get some straight, I go.
No matters, no other resolutions. May we motion to approve the bill list pending review of individual invoices?
Second.
Roll call vote, please. Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
Ms. Moreski?
Aye.
And Mayor Jacobs?
Aye.
Jesus. Now he's dead.
Okay, new business. The Walter P. Miller Jr. bench proposal.
I can add a little bit of color to this. So this is coming out of the Historic Preservation Commission. Walter P. Miller Jr.'s family, predecessors, same Miller family, Miller land that we're sitting on here today. We were approached by some of his contemporaries, doing something special for Walter Miller. They were initially wanted to do something. He perished in overseas. And they initially wanted to do some sort of memorial towards the lane, and we showed them the memorial that we go through every year, Memorial Day. There, Main Street, but they've come back and suggested maybe a bench in Walter's name. And perhaps they could put the bench out front here, flagpole, place for someone to go, sit, commemorate his life, and so it was a really neat idea. Stepping out to take the bench. It's this third party who's in it. It was a very nice request. It usually wanted to sign up their lane, sort of explain that was setting the precedent. We didn't want to start that in town, but certainly the bench was something that was led to as part of our program, something that's consistent, so we'd be consistent with the fabric of our community. So just very appropriate. It's the Miller family, and certainly ties back to town. I certainly support the notion that we're at from here. Something that we should cherish and honor. Thank you for family. So that's the information.
Is there action that the TC needs to take? Do we need to endorse it or
Yeah, I
even
think,
just informally?
I can certainly check, but I think some sort of resolution, just because it's sort of not, my understanding of the bench program is that you can do a bench, but I don't know what it's different.
Right.
They're asking-
Yeah, and the bench program-
And then it go right.
And the bench program is for parks. And this is the municipal complex, not a park.
Place of public
Right.
accommodation, but at least, it's also nice. So you're going to go out and have a nice break, nice days. But given the fact that it's a lane, facilities,
Mhm.
I just thought it all was a nice little welcome together. Certainly, we did. So circumstances exist, why this particular request should be permitted. It's a good bench.
Totally support that.
So Robin, for the next meeting, do you want to put together a resolution?
Sure.
And once again, the bench program, my understanding is the bench program is that it is specific to the parks. Since this is a little bit different, it would really run outside of the bench program and probably is more appropriate to come through a resolution from the TC.
Right. It's something new that we've never done before outside the hiking bike trail and the park system. So that was just a suggestion that they get approval from the township committee moving forward, since it is a little bit outside of what we normally.
Okay, great. And let's go to old business. I did not go over COVID numbers. I did not have the opportunity. I did see that the county is now, or the state is providing some information on boosters. So we'll get a chance to go through that. I did see some of the more recent emails flying from the county, and there continue to be some positive results, but once again, I would say not in proportion to the anecdotal information that we hear about positive COVID cases. Certainly, from people I know in town and from my work and other friends, it continues to be, running through people. But the numbers that are being reported through the official state and county websites doesn't seem to be keeping pace. And I think it's probably because most people are doing the rapid tests. They know they have it. They don't bother getting the PCR test. But from my office, it's hardly a day goes by when there isn't some report of someone coming down with it, or more than one. So that's out there. DOT improvements. I do know the chief was following up with DOT, but he's not here tonight, so we'll come back to that in the next meeting. Utilities, Committeeman Hickey.
Couple of quick updates, Mayor. Thank you. For Altice, we have a number of associations, particularly in the Hills Village North section, who are on the verge of signing the fiber agreement with Altice. They're just waiting for some additional details, including plot plans. Altice is committed to provide that information by the end of this week. JCP&L, we did have a significant outage on Monday, June 27th, that resulted in 429 Bedminster residents losing power for about 4 to 5 hours. Most were located in the Hills Village North area. The cause was a squirrel who got curious and managed to get into the switchgear. I suspect he suffered the same fate as the cat who got curious. I've asked our JCP&L rep if there's anything that can be done to prevent future occurrences of this nature. Put the equipment in a cage, electronic fencing, whatever is necessary. They're going to look into that. Also, in response to our complaints regarding the poor condition of some of the transformers in the hills, JCP&L will be conducting routine inspections of the electrical boxes and other equipment. The inspections will be done on a circuit by circuit basis. Remember, there are 5 circuits feeding Bedminster, so they're going to look at each one of them. A team from the JCP&L line group and the underground transmission group will review the findings. Once the action items are identified, a work plan will be completed through their engineering department. So we may be living with some rusting and unsightly boxes for a little while longer, but hopefully not too long. As I mentioned to JCP&L, duct tape is not a long-term solution. And Mayor, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Committeeman Stevenson, any update on any of the utility issues that you're tracking down?
No, nothing on the gas.
Okay, and I know that Gina may have had some further discussions since she's not here. Maybe just table that.
I did see Montana, some of them, their meeting operations last week. This was out of the box, so I suspect that we don't have the change. The contrary, so I think it was completed. But not included all the gas.
Okay. And with that, Pluckman Park housing.
Yes, two things on that. I think for next meeting, we'll have a proposed. Sorry, I'm sorry, I was thinking about some historical coverage. John and I had to just get back with the zoning construction.
Okay.
We just need to see what they see, what they've identified. We've got Paul's list. So that's just a matter of see what they,
Okay.
got any other additional items that they think that need to be addressed that Paul didn't have.
No, I know that Ken had gone out. Paul had made his initial assessment and he had a conversation with his son.
Okay. I'll circle back.
Okay.
We'll have something for you.
Okay, good. And with that, we'll go to Township Committee comments. We do have an executive session. We have personal matters to discuss. None of those discussions will result in formal action being taken by the Township Committee. So what we'll do is we'll go through Township Committee comments. We'll go into executive session and we'll return simply for adjourning the meeting. So let's go through Township Committee comments with Committeeman Stevenson.
Mayor, no comments. Thank you.
I just want to extend the invitation again to Township Committee from the Jacob Vanderveer House to have everybody come and see the cantonment model. I know summertime is hard to put everybody together, so perhaps around Labor Day, I can get everybody over there and we'll have probably one of the ladies give us a tour through the house and show the model because it's really spectacular and I really think you guys need to see it.
All right, good.
Right,
And
Robin?
okay, I have no further comments, so I'll take a motion to adjourn to executive session.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good evening, all.
Here's your-
Good night, John.
Bye, John.
Thanks.
Welcome back. It is 8:39, and just as we indicated earlier, Township Committee has returned from executive session. We have no formal business to take on. With that, may we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you and good night.
Good night.
That was